Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a read and wrap up video. I usually tend to do these monthly, but to be honest, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of overlap here. So some of these books I read in October and some in November. 5 books which I want to talk to you about. One I sadly DNF'd for now, and the others I have managed to finish. So yeah, get cozy, get comfortable, grab a drink if you've got one. I have one here. Very much wish this was beer, but it's tea. Hopefully this will be a short and sweet video. Okay, so here's my stash of books which I'm going to talk about in this video. I was going to say no particular order, but I will do it in order of of my notes which I've written down. Okay, so I haven't actually written that many notes on this book, but the first book I'm going to talk to you about is More Perfect by Temi O. Sadly, this is a DNF for now. I feel like I'm I'm definitely over the halfway mark. So I took the bookmark out. Yeah, I'm definitely over halfway. I'm probably got about quarter left, but I'm just not. Right now, I'm just not in the mood to read a sci-fi dystopian novel. At the time when I was reading, I really enjoyed it. So what this is about is set in a dystopian UK where I think it's around 30 years on from now, and there's this chip that people can get put into their brain called what's it called again? Yes, there's this thing that people can get put into their brain called a pulse, and it has access to all of their memories, everything they've ever seen and things like that. And I think the government have access to this as well. And there's people who are very much against this. They're kind of extremists, shall we say. They're very much against this, and they're going to try and do everything possible to stop this widespread of this pulse. So yeah, something catastrophic and devastating happens. Yeah, we basically follow Moremi, who is living with her pulse, and then we follow Orpheus, who was completely brought up in isolation. He's never ever met anybody before, and he obviously doesn't have a pulse, and these two people collide. And yeah, it's just got tons of action, quite graphic in some places. I kind of like how it's just set in a dystopian London and other parts in the UK as well. I think, yeah, just, lots of themes in here, racial profiling, climate change. With Moremi, there's, she goes through a lot, and she's quite a codependent, insecure person. She is a serial monogamist, just back-to-back relationships. And yeah, just death and grief, destruction, failure. There's just lots going on. I said I compare this to what's that Black Mirror episode? Compare this to San Junipero in Black Mirror. But yeah, it's there's definitely a lot of different Black Mirror episodes in this one book. But I would definitely recommend it. But I think I've just popped it down for now because I just wasn't in the sci-fi mood to carry on with this. But I definitely will finish it when I get the urge again. I'm just very much in a literary fiction mood at the moment. So yeah, DNF. But if I had to rate it on what I've read, I would probably give it a 3.5, 4 stars. So yeah, and she also has another novel, which is her first. This is her second book. Her first novel is Do You Dream of Terror 2, and that's set of I think quite a few people go into space on this mission, and loads of ish goes down. So I definitely want to read that next, because I do like her writing style. So yeah, so that's the first one out of the way. Second book I've got here is Daisy Hates, and this is part of the Magnolia Park series. I have actually done a reading vlog on this book, so that will probably be out. I don't know when that's going to be out, probably maybe in a couple of weeks or something. Yeah, as I said, this is set in the Magnolia Parks world. So yeah, so Magnolia Parks is basically about these rich, bratty socialites living in London, just absolutely filthy rich. So Daisy Hates, we are briefly introduced to her in the first book from Magnolia's perspective, but this is all from Daisy Hates' perspective. So she is the daughter and the sister of a gang lord. So her family are very, very well respected in the kind of gang space in London, and they're just filthy rich. And yeah, it's mainly about her and her life. She is a I think she's in med school, so I quite like that about her. And yeah, this is just a lot of gangs, guns, violence, disturbances, murder, and like I said, just lots of money, lots of cash, and just all that stuff. So in this we follow Daisy and her kind of love interest as well, from the first book, and also her brother Julian. So Daisy, Christian and Julian are like the three main characters which we get their perspectives on. I did give this a 3.5 stars. It's very insufferable, but it was very interesting. I definitely prefer Daisy Hates to Magnolia Parks. I really don't like Magnolia Parks as a character, and I think reading this I really don't like it's kind of intensified my not hate, but I just distaste for her, and just that book in general. I just think that storyline is so boring. Like, this storyline is just so interesting because it's just so out there and so far reached and just so the worldly. I did this with a buddy read with Deb as well, which was really, really fun. I always love doing buddy reads with her, and it was just so good to do that on the Storygraph and comment on all the things. And yeah, she actually said, because I was like, oh my god, I feel like this is like would be like a sick TV show, and I think she told me that I think it is going to be made into a TV show. Yeah, I would definitely watch that. But yeah, I did read this because at the time I was in a slump, and it did get me out of a slump. It really helped. Since I have finished this, I've finished 3 books, so, and I'm a very slow reader, so I definitely can commend this. And yeah, if you want to maybe jump into the world, don't take it so seriously and just enjoy it for what it is, a bad book, and with a really cracking storyline. So well, not cracking storyline, but it's, yeah, if you like reality TV, or if you just like that kind of gossipy kind of world, I think you would like this. Okay, moving on. The next book I read was Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, and I actually have the signed copy of this. So this has been sat on my TBR for such a long time, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. I just wrote some notes. I said it's giving Lottie, it's giving United Front, it's giving biting your tongue, it's giving denial, dysfunctional-esque hypocrisy, just a lot going on in this book. This is about 4 sisters. Sadly, one of them dies, who's Nikki. So we follow Avery, Bonnie and Lucky. They are kind of, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna get cramps at like this. Oh god, let me just stretch my legs out. Okay, yeah, so they are in kind of different corners of the world. Avery is in London, specifically Hampstead Heath, which is like, goals, I'd love to live there. So yeah, she's like a straight-laced lawyer, it says, living in London. Bonnie is a boxer, was a boxer, and now she's living in LA, kind of like hiding out there. And then Lucky is a model, and she is living in Paris. And they all have flaws, let me tell you. The entire family is flawed. All the sisters and the mum and dad. There's some very heavy topics in here. One of the sister that actually no, I'm not going to say about how the sister passed away, because obviously that's, you know, spoiling it. But I know there has been some mixed feelings about this book. There is a spoiler which I do want to talk about, so I will timestamp and I will say when I get to the spoiler, just so if you haven't read this book that you're not I don't ruin it for you. With this, I said there's this family, there's like this quietness of shame. I just feel like this kind of depicts grief and how hard grief is. I actually read this when I was, you know, obviously I've been dealing with grief. Sadly I did lose a really close friend of mine 9 years ago, and it was her anniversary, her death anniversary, as I was reading this. So, you know, it was kind of nice, I guess, to read it. Kind of made me, I don't know, kind of healed some of those things I'm kind of holding on to from that. This kind of shows how, like, in this book, they're just like, the sisters have these problems and also their grief, and just how, like, it's kind of like a loose thread, and it just of a jumper, and it just completely unravels. And yeah, there's just how much the impact of the death of their sister, just, you know, so much goes on. This is really nice how it, you know, it does show sisterhood and friendship, but then emptiness and loneliness. Just, you know, you can be part of you can have two other or three other sisters but feel so lonely, unable to turn to anybody about your own problems. I particularly loved Avery, as she's the eldest and she had a lot of responsibility, and I kind of felt like Avery, not that I have a lot of responsibility, but someone who can't really talk about their grief so openly sometimes. Just feel like you have to always be put together and always have everything together all the time. This explores a lot of, you know, things which happen when you're grieving, and just like the sister passes away unexpectedly, and that's what happened with my friend as well. It was completely unexpectedly. It was when we were 21, so very, very young. You don't ever expect to lose a close friend at that age. With this book, you kind of shows you how much, you know, with grief, it's just like, especially, you know, that person is kind of like the glue. And my friend who passed, now I realise she was the glue to our friendship circle, because unfortunately our friendship circle completely disbanded like maybe a year or two after she passed. So and it's, you know, kind of similar in this book as well. The sisters and the family just kind of disperse after the death of the sister. So yeah, I thought this was really good. I have to say this wasn't as good as Cleopatra and Frankenstein. That book is god tier to me. I love that book and I think I want to do a reread of it. I absolutely adored that book. I loved the writing. I thought the writing in here was really good, but there was just something, I don't know, there was some magic that was missing, I can't lie, but I still did give it 4 stars because I read it in like 2 days, and I read it really quickly, and I did enjoy the book. I wasn't moved to tears though from it, but yeah, there was a lot of things which I probably didn't agree with in this book. Yeah, one thing I do want to touch on, so I'm going to say this is going to be a spoiler, so please skip to here if I put it, or please skip maybe like a minute or 2 ahead if you have not read this book and you don't want to hear me talk about this spoiler. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the one thing I really need to touch on in this book is Bonnie and her coach Pavel getting together. So if I'm not mistaken, the age gap of their relationship, fine, whatever. However, it's when they met. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe she was 14 and he was 27 and he was her coach. And then obviously later on when they get together, when she's in like her when they meet again and she's in like her 30s and he's in his late 40s or whatever. But I just don't agree with that. I think it's incredibly inappropriate. I was just side-eyeing that plot, if I'm honest with you. No one said anything as well, especially Avery, who is very judgmental. You know, she's very protective of her sisters, and I just thought, I don't know if I like that. I'm just thinking if my sister got with someone who was her trainer at the time when they met and then they became a couple, I don't know, but I just think it's a little bit inappropriate. And is it giving groomer? I don't know, but I just think it's a little wrong. And the thing is, it was never acted on at the time, but I just think maybe I don't know, because they're adults now, they can do whatever the hell they want. I guess it's just like a 27-year-old training a 14-year-old, or 13-year-old or whatever. You would just see them as a kid and just like, oh, you know, I've known you since you was a kid. I don't know. I just think it's a little odd. So yeah, that kind of made me feel a little bit icky. So yeah, but overall, it was a good book. Next up is Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I think that's how you pronounce the name. This was a complete and utter unexpected surprise. So I purchased this book. I was in Waterstones and I picked this up. I just didn't hear anything about it, didn't see it on Goodreads, nothing. I purely just picked it up because I was looking for some kind of horror-esque sci-fi kind of book, more horror because it was Halloween at the time. So yeah, I picked this up and I was pleasantly surprised. This is a 4-star. However, this is crazy, this is disturbing, this is disgusting, it's just straight up weird. It's like very, not Eliza Clark, but just very weird girl lit book, like, let's just put it like that. But it was great. So yeah, I can definitely recommend for a Halloween read. And yeah, I read it in a couple of days. So yeah, this is an unhinged woman with a capital U, like extremely unhinged. This follows Abby Lamb and her husband Ralph. So unfortunately, her husband's mum dies, so the mother-in-law dies. Yeah, Abby and the mother-in-law don't really get along, and then yeah, basically the mother-in-law's ghost comes back and starts to haunt them, and her husband is plunged into a deep depression, and it's kind of up to Abby to get him out of that. I won't go into any more because I don't want to spoil it, but it's very, very unexpected. So yeah, this is a gothic horror. It's got streams of unconsciousness. I read this is very Otessa Moshfegh-esque. That is another author I do want to read. I have tried to read what's it called, My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I mean, I've been listening to it on audiobook, but I can't get past the first chapter because I just always fall asleep. So I think I want to get the actual physical copy so I can read it. This is just very like very weird, very, very weird, but it was like very gory as well. So if you don't like gore, maybe you don't read this. I don't know, it wasn't that gory. There was just a few different accounts where it's a bit gory. This is like a really interesting account of like generational trauma, very like narcissistic parenting, mommy issues, like extreme mommy issues, and just like emotionally manipulative parents, and just how that can bleed into so many different aspects, like relationships, things like that, and just like, yeah, complete and utter crossing boundaries. For a book which I just picked up myself, actively tried not to look at any reviews and actively didn't look on Goodreads or anything, I am very pleased that I picked this up, and I'll have to see if this is the first book from Ainsley Hogarth or if they have written any more. It doesn't say that they have, but I'll have to have a look. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and I would highly recommend it. And the last book we have here is When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. This was kindly sent to me actually by Little Brown. I completely forgot about it. I first picked this up in August and I literally just finished it a couple of days ago, and I actually DNF'd this because I just didn't care. I didn't care about the characters. I couldn't get into it. So I just popped it down and I was just like, right, I'll pick it up when I feel like it. And the time came, I picked it up and I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really, really good. Really amazing second chance romance and set in like the Hollywood like entertainment industry. And yeah, I'd really, really recommend it. So this is set in Los Angeles and it follows 26-year-old Kalia, who she is an aspiring film director, but she's kind of stuck in a dead-end receptionist job at the film agency or film production company that she works for. Basically, her life is just very mundane. She's really just trying to make it big, make her kind of break. But it's very hard, you know, especially being a black woman in the entertainment world. She's just not being seen. Big shot Danny Prescott turns up, who happens to be her old college flame from 7 years ago. He turns up to the film studio and he gives her an opportunity of working on his film, and then the sparks and chemistry just fly and we are swept into this whirlwind romance kind of. So yeah, like, you know, get to see their connection and why they broke up, and it was just lovely. It was a really good romance book and I flew through this. When I picked it back up, I read it in probably like 2 days. I really loved it. I thought it was very reminiscent of Kennedy Ryan and kind of Emily Henry. So if you like those authors, you definitely like this. Yeah, the chemistry was amazing. Writing style was great. Good few cultural references in there as well. Side characters were great. Loved her roommate Neha, I think her name was. I would love to see a second book from in this kind of world. Where are they now? Also following Neha, I think that's how you pronounce it, Neha, and her roommate and her relationship, because actually, I won't say anything about her relationship, but yeah, I would love to kind of have a kind of series of this and this world. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. This deals with grief as well. I think it dealt with that quite beautifully as well. And again, as I said, I was kind of reading this around the time of my friend's death anniversary, so it was quite healing for me to, you know, read some things about grief. Also, side note, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but one of the characters they want in the film, I feel like it's loosely based on what's his name from One Direction, Harry Styles, because in this paragraph it says, it would be one thing if Danny felt strongly that Max was the best choice to play his father, but we're talking about an ex-boy bander turned solo artist who's just recently made the pivot into acting. Max has probably 2 films to his resume, and his performances in each have been panned by critics. Granted, he's filled stadiums of screaming fans and graced the cover of People magazine numerous times. Even I added his latest hit, Hot Like Sugar, to my workout playlist. Isn't his song called Watermelon Sugar, I think? So yeah, I didn't know if it was like loosely based on Harry Styles, as I know he was in that film. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Is it Don't Worry Darling or something? I can't remember. I don't know if he was a bad actor or anything. One Directioners don't come for me. I don't know if he's good acting, whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's it. And then my current read, which I am reading, which I'm loving at the moment, and from the first page, I think I'm predicting now it's going to be a 5-star. So this is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I have a feeling my heart is going to be broken when I finish this book. There's been some absolutely just like, I really feel for Demon already, and I'm just 100 pages in at the minute. I honestly feel for him so bad, and I'm so connected to him already, and I'm really scared that I'm going to be bawling my eyes out. Please don't put any spoilers, but yeah, let me know if you've read this or not. Obviously I know this won the Women's Prize, and I'm definitely sure why. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize as well. So yeah, I'm definitely, I know for a fact this is a 5-star, but this is not going to be obviously included in the wrap up, but I'll obviously speak about this when I get around to finishing it. But so I just wanted to mention it because it's just absolutely beautiful, and the writing is amazing, and I can just really picture myself there, and I feel like it's just like a film or a TV show in my head. It's so descriptive, but still she has really given Demon the voice. Like, I really feel like a 10-year-old is speaking to me. It's really good. I really love this so far. So yeah, that is it. That is my wrap up for the month or 6 weeks or whatever. I don't know when the next one will be, maybe end of December or something, I'm not sure, but yeah, I hope you guys are well. Oh, before I go as well, I did put a community post up about I'm celebrating my booktube anniversary, my first one, can you believe it? So I am celebrating with a Q&A, so if you want to ask me a question, leave a question on that post, or you can leave a question on this video, whatever, I don't mind, and I will try and film that Q&A soon or whenever. But yeah, just quickly, thank you so much if you have supported me since day one, or if you've clicked on a video and you have subscribed, or you've commented or liked or whatever recently. I just really appreciate it and appreciate you, and yeah, just very happy that I clicked post on November 5th, I think I uploaded the video. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will speak to you in the next video.